Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. I don't know, you want to see much too much? A little bit closer. I don't know. Whatever. Dr. Fantastic here on the Be Fantastic Road Tour, pretty much in isolation, even though I go out quite often and try to do interviews. It just seems impossible. I was at the VA hospital the other day and got harassed. Not really harassed, just get the hell off the property. What the hell are you doing here? We're in a national pandemic. So the call-in numbers, I'd love to talk to my audience. I've got some fantastic callers in days past. This is day 47 of what I call the Be Fantastic Road Tour, where I go on the road to find fantastic people with fantastic stories in fantastic places. Right around the corner, I did a couple of interviews at the Spruce Street Suspension Bridge. 1912 was built. Fantastic suspension bridge. So that was a couple of nice interviews from there. Down on the San Diego Bay, where I'm in San Diego, I did some interviews in front of the Midway, in front of the Maritime Museum, and at the yesterday I did it at the Car Museum, which is in Balboa Park. Beautiful park, all of course cordoned off with yellow tape. Excuse me, a little hot here. I interviewed Bob Bishop, who is a business associate of mine, and we're going to be doing some fantastic things in Fiji. Here's one of the newspaper articles that was printed on him. He's donated millions of dollars to the Fijians, and we're going to be working on some water deals and some entertainment deals and all kind of infrastructure over there. It's going to be very fun. But in the meantime, I'm going to bring you a daily updates on what's happening with Dr. Fantastic and the people I run into. Again, I was interviewing Bob yesterday. He called in while I was at the museum. He had some work to do here. And I started driving because, life is all about left and right turns. And I decided not to sit there for the interview, but to move. So as I'm driving down the street, down Park Avenue, into downtown San Diego, he's interviewing. We're talking about Fiji. It was a fantastic interview. We're going to be doing some fantastic stuff over there. At any rate, I ran into hundreds of cars honking horns, people all in a fantastic mood. It was really a lot of positive energy. So I videotaped a bit of that, and then I got out of the car, still live, and videotaped the crowd and more cars and everything that was going on. Ooh, sucked some air there. And what I discovered from that is, and I guess it's becoming a political ping pong game, because it appeared that it was a Trump rally. I thought it was a rally to get America back and go back to work. And now I sent that video to a few people, and they got outraged because they thought I was supporting Trump. Well, I don't support any party. I'm apolitical. I don't talk politics, and I don't talk religion. But I guess these rallies are Trump rallies. I don't know why. I would think the Democrats want to go back to work. It blows my mind to hear that the Democrats think they need to sit in their home with their masks on. I mean, this is totally ludicrous. I've been in this home here for a month, and over, I would say 30, 40 people came through without masks. And it's I don't want to say it's a hoax. It is a virus, and it is dangerous. But if you've been in your home for over a month, you've passed the quarantine stage. So that means you don't have it. So I don't understand why we're so afraid to go outdoors now. It's healthy to go outdoors. We need the environment. We need bacteria in our bodies. And people, you got to go outside and get healthy again. We got to go back to work. This is getting totally ridiculous. And it seems just like a political agenda now. I know everyone makes mistakes, and the government, I believe Trump, you can call it Trump, made a mistake by not releasing information earlier or locking down earlier, because in 1918, tens of millions of people died from what they call the Spanish flu. Same thing, it's an epidemic. The bubonic plague killed 75 million people. So had we not locked down and get it under control, we would have had tens of millions of people die, in my opinion. But we got it locked down, and the bell curve is passed. Very few people are getting it now. So I think with a little physical distancing, not social distancing. I've been from the very start, I thought social distancing was the wrong message to send. You don't want to be socially distant from your friends, your family, your loved ones, your associates, the humanity. No, you want to be physically distant because that's how this coronavirus spreads. So I think you should go outside. I mean, and I hope this doesn't become a big political battle. I mean, I'm not going to talk politics, but I've done enough research and I've heard enough experts in the world, and a lot of them are contradicting. So it's very, very confusing when a guy who's a top 50 doctor in the world says it's a hoax and it's not as bad as everyone thinks it is. You know, you kind of wonder what's going on. Is it all about money? Because if you've ever watched any of my animated openings, it says we live in a greedy, selfish, litigious society, and we do. And there's a lot of greed, and Big Pharma is one of the greediest. And Monsanto and DuPont. These are greedy, greedy corporations that all they care is about money. And you can watch movies about it. You can read history books about it. But greed is an awful, awful thing. And my movement, the Be Fantastic movement, is to try to stem that. Try to convince people to be kind, to be considerate, to be friendly. So as of late, by the way, the call-in numbers again are 310-913-5533. Love to hear from you. Or 714-316-9829. Feel free to call in. What was I saying? I was going to say some things. So as I go through each day, I try to think of other things that might be interesting for y'all. And a lot of times I've been reading some emails that come from people, some from my ambassadors from all over the world. I've got ambassadors in 41 countries around the world. And I like to read certain things. And there's obviously, you don't know what to believe anymore. You know, I do happen to know that 13 families in the world control all the money in the world. And when you control all the money in the world, you control the governments and you control the banks and the media and everything underneath that. So it's all about money. It all comes down to money. Fiji, sounds like they went back to the barter system for a while anyway, because nobody can work. So if you can't work and you got some chickens, trade some chickens for some gasoline or a pig or what have you. So the barter system works really great. Anyway, I want to talk to you a little bit about my sponsor, Via. These are proactive hydration beverages. This one here is orange mango. It is a fantastic drink. You can get it at drinkvia.com. In September or earlier, hopefully, it'll be on store shelves nationwide. It's low calorie. It's got VIA stands for vitamins, electrolytes, and antioxidants. All healthy things for you. Very low calories, 34 calories for what is it, 16 ounces. That's not bad. That's fantastic. So basically, I was reading a couple times of this day in history, which I thought was pretty cool, because this day recurs once a year. And on this day, I believe it's the 16th of May. Time's running together with this sequestration. There are 21 million birthdays. So if it's your birthday today, I want to wish you a happy birthday. And I'm going to read a few things that happened on this day in history, which I think is interesting. I hope you find it interesting too, while I wait for a caller. So what happened to this day in history? I always like to read the good things because there's a lot of bad things that happened as well. So that was just a court thing. Supreme Court ruling. I don't care about that. Let's see what we can find of something of interest for y'all. Okay, gay rights. There's a lot of gay people out there. The first legal same-sex marriage was performed in Massachusetts on this day in 2004. It's pretty commonplace nowadays. In 1965, the FBI laboratory weighs in on the dirty lyrics of Louie Louie. Oh my goodness. So they say there was supposedly pornographic lyrics in the song Louie Louie. The investigation finally reared its conclusion on this day, 1965. I didn't know that Louie Louie was pornographic, to be honest with you. No one will ever know who started the rumor that Louie Louie was dirty. As written by Richard Berry in 1955, their lyrics revolve around a sailor from the Caribbean lamenting to a bartender named Louie Louie about missing his faraway love. As recorded in crummy conditions and in a single take by the Kingsmen in 1963, lyrics like, "A fine little girl, she wait for me," came out sounding like a blah, 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 blah. I'm not sure what that is. Perhaps it was some clever middle schooler who started the rumor by trying to convince a classmate those lyrics contain some words that are unprintable today as they were back in 1963. Whatever the case, the story spread like wildfire until the United States Department of Justice began receiving letters like the one addressed to Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy and dated January 30th, 1964. Who do you turn to when your teenage daughter buys and brings home pornographic or obscene materials being sold in every city, village, and record shop in this nation? That letter began, before going on to make specific assertion that the lyrics of Louie Louie were so filthy that I cannot enclose them in this letter. Over the course of the next 2 years, the FBI gathered many versions of the putative lyrics to Louie Louie. They interviewed the man who wrote the song and officials of the record label that released the Kingsman smash hit single. They turned the record over to the audio experts in the FBI laboratory who played and replayed Louie Louie at 78 RPM, 45 RPM, 33 and a third RPM, and even slower speeds in an effort to determine whether it was pornographic and therefore whether its sale was a violation of federal interstate transportation of obscene material law. This is a crazy country, I swear. Unintelligible at any speed was the conclusion the FBI laboratory relayed to the investigators in charge on this day in 1965. Not quite exonerating Louie Louie, but also damning the tune that would go on to become one of the most coveted songs in rock and roll history. Well, what's interesting about that is people read in to certain things, like the movie Being There, fantastic movie. And whenever this imbecile, I would say Peter Sellers, plays a very low IQ person, let's just say, and whatever he would say, people would read into. Like one time he was being interviewed, and he says, "I don't read." Well, people read. Yeah, who reads nowadays? You watch television, listen to the radio. So everyone reads into what. So my point being is that person who complained was probably a pervert in his own right and saw discussing pornography and everything. Okay, so now let's go on. 1973, the televised Watergate hearings begin. That's interesting. A little time in history. Exploration. In 1970, Norwegian ethnologist Thor Heyerdahl sails the papyrus boat because they wanted to see how one continent could get to another without ships. And I guess just with papyrus, you could build a boat that will float and get you where you're going. So on May 17th, oh, by the way, it's May 17th today, not the 16th, 1970, Thor and a multinational crew set out from Morocco across the Atlantic Ocean in Ra 2, a papyrus sailing craft modeled after the ancient Egyptian sailing vessels. He was trying to prove his theory that the Mediterranean civilizations sailed to America in ancient times and exchanged cultures with people of Central and South America. Now that brings me to the pyramids. A little note on the pyramids. There's pyramids all around the world, in all the continents around the world, that are lined up with one another and pointing in the exact same direction and built with technologies that we can't use, even incorporate today. So how is it that many continents were able to communicate with each other to line these things up? So I'm a ufologist, and I studied ancient history, and there's many, many baffling artifacts that are in our possession that we can't explain. Tens of thousands and sometimes hundreds of thousands of years old. I think it was an axe. They found an axe with a wood handle and a metal top, and it was embedded in a rock. And they carbon dated that to 500,000 years ago. Well, if you know anything about history, and I like history, I don't remember much of it, but we weren't around 500,000 years ago. Okay, so in the year 2000, the final episode of Beverly Hills 90210 airs with Tori Spelling and Luke Perry and what have you. Never watched the show, so that means nothing to me. In 1974, the LAPD raids 6 Symbionese Liberation Army members. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm not the best reader. LAPD raid leaves 6 SLA members dead. That was the Patty Hearst days. You know, these rich heiresses and heirs alike of trust fund kids, when they don't have any responsibility because they know they're going to be fed and taken care of the rest of their lives, turn into all kind of drug addicts and horrible people. Money is the root of all evil. Everyone thinks money brings happiness. It does not bring happiness. I'm told Costa Rica and Fiji are some of the happiest places on the earth. I'm looking forward to visiting those again and bringing you some fantastic stories. Bob, my business associate here, has connections to the highest levels of government, and he's going to introduce me to them, and we're going to hear their story, and we're going to meet lots of Fijians. It's going to be fantastic. Okay, so getting back to the American Revolution. In 1769, George Washington criticizes taxation without representation. We all heard that saying. By the way, I was sent an email today, and it says, if you're being approached by the police or anyone, mostly police, I think it's about, and they ask you a question, say only 4 words. It's your Fifth Amendment right. Not I plead the Fifth. What you say is, I don't answer questions. They say, what's your name? You say, I don't answer questions. And they say, why do you do that? And you say, I don't answer questions. And he did it multiple times, whether it was staged or not, I don't know. And the policemen walk away because the policemen know your rights. And when you say, I don't answer questions, you do not have to answer questions. That's your right as an American. It's in the Constitution. So know that, and turn your video camera on. Always when you're in an altercation with police or anyone of authority or even bad people, turn that video camera on. It's a great way to chronicle what's about to happen. As I did yesterday with the fantastic rally. I mean, everyone was in a fantastic mood. I would say half the people or more didn't have masks on, and they were with each other. It's one of my most popular YouTube videos. It has over 25,000 views, and it states from someone smarter than me that the fear and the repercussions from this pandemic are going to be worse than the pandemic. And that's monetarily proven a million times over. And again, 100,000 people dying is a bad thing. And it's probably going to be 200, let's say, at the end of the day. But compared to 1918, when 50 million people died, or in 1367, when 75 million people died, a third of the world, it's not bad to have some economic repercussions. Now, speaking of the economic of it, I interviewed a gentleman last night who took his $1,200 and went out and bought a car. That was fantastic to hear. And because people need cars to get around, now he can get a job. Can't get a very good job right now, but it's opening up. I think it should open up. I'm really feeling bad for the kids because if this is going to be something that goes on forever, that we can never be within 6 feet of another human, and you have to wear masks all the time, that's going to be ridiculous. By the way, I want someone out there to start a mask beauty contest. We can't have beauty contests anymore, so have a mask contest. I've seen some creative masks out there, and I'm in the mask business now. I fell into it because my sponsor, Via, has bottling plants for this fantastic beverage, and we've been asked to bottle gel sanitizers. So we sell now to the government tens of millions of sanitizers, we have masks, and we have gloves. So if you want to see my price list, go to befantastictoday.com and check out that. And you can, if you know someone who wants to buy it, you can make a commission. It's a way to make some money sitting at home. Also, I want to shout out to my veteran charity, ilovesos.org, which is free for everyone. I've spent 8 years developing it, and it's been running very nicely. Basically, if you have a product or a service and you want to give a discount to veterans, you list your company, your product, the discount you want to give, where you are, your contact information, your website, everything, and it's free. And what happens when you do something like this, you thank veterans, which is extremely important, not just twice a year. You spread patriotism, you increase your business, and you earn customer loyalty and patriotism. So it's a fantastic website, ilovesos.org. I've also got linked what's called Mindful Memorial Foundation. And they're asking people to record a fallen veteran's name in remembrance for this Memorial Day. You can find that link at ilovesos.org. And I've been recording some names with people I run into. And it's a very nice cause. And you can go to mindfulmemorialfoundation.org for that information on that. And if you want to gift something to a local hospital, to a school, to a neighbor, anyone, you go to montyslist.org. It's free. Again, everything's free. I'm not doing the Be Fantastic movement to make money. I don't do the SOS to make money. I don't do Monty's List to make money. I'm trying to do the right thing. I'm trying to be a kind person. I'm trying to convince everyone to be kind, because fantastic people are kind. Fantastic people are kind, considerate, friendly, polite, civil. They open doors for people. They let people in traffic. They say please and thank you. And they say hello when someone says hello to them. Can't tell you how many people I ask what happens when you say hello, and a lot of people just blow you off. It's pretty sad. Speaking of blowing off, everyone's so afraid for their lives. I've seen altercations in the market. Someone bumps into someone, oh my God. You'd think they just stabbed them in the back. It's such a divided nation now, and it's turning into a political division, which is disgusting, because no matter what a Democrat thinks, they won't listen to what the Republican says. Whatever the Republican says, they won't listen to what the Democrat says. So there's no way they can come in between, because they have their agendas, and there's no compromise. It's just, I want to say clusterfuck when it comes to political bullshit, and I'm tired of it. So I actually want to leave the country, and I'm hoping Fiji is maybe a great place. There's a lot of, I've been around the world, and there's a lot of fantastic places. So at this point in my life, I'm going to try to do some real serious business in Fiji, and then I'm still going to travel even when the businesses are running, because there's a whole world that I want to bring my audience, the fantastic group. We have 250 some odd ambassadors. We've got thousands of subscribers to the channel. We need millions of people to be fantastic. The only way we're going to make the world a better place, a less greedy place, a more civil place, is to be kind to one another. Kindness is the eternal act or law, one of the two. I forget what it's a good thing though. When you do kind things, karma kicks in. And I'm told one of my interviews was with a young lady who said karma comes back threefold, not just once. Now, I don't know if you're new to this or not, but I have thousands of interviews on this show. I've got 47 now of this road tour, sequestration. I started as just being sequestered in Marina Del Rey, and then I said, no, there's no way. Martial law is coming, which it still might, because I think it's going to be more and more uprisings if they really do lock down people more than they should. I think there's going to be some fantastic things that come out of this. Restaurants will be cleaner. The subway is going to be cleaner. The buses and the airplanes are going to be cleaner. You don't have to sit next to anybody on the airplane anymore. There's going to be a seat between. You go to these places like the doctor's office. Every other seat has a black plastic bag over it. So, again, it's not social distancing we want to practice, everybody. It's physical distancing. Keep your distance. Wash your hands. I mean, I hate to say this, but I don't wash my hands all day long. It's a little ridiculous. Someone's at the door. So I'm going to wrap this up because there's more activities going here. Thank you for watching. Be fantastic, everyone. Be kind to one another. Join the movement. It's free. Send me an email to Be Fantastic Today. I'm sorry. Send an email to Dr. Fantastic at Be Fantastic Today. By the way, these shows are never scripted, never rehearsed, never edited. It's just plain talk, plain positive talk most of the time. Had some fantastic interviews. John Paul DeGioia called in. Ken Baxter, the first man in outer space. Bob Bishop yesterday. Fantastic people calling in. And you can call in too. Talk about anything, complain, suggest. Everyone, be fantastic. Thanks for watching.